Hi, good morning, Austin.
Good morning or good evening. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. It's so good to see you back again.
It's good to be back. My colleague Rhett is also going to be joining the call.
All right.
Um, so he should be on, and I would like to introduce him to the students as well, if that's okay when he gets on.
Yes, definitely. Also, our students are just rolling in. So, if you don't mind, we can wait for 2 minutes and just let more of them join in, and then we can start the session. And as and then they can keep joining.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Okay.
And I am here at Millsaps College in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm really excited to talk to you all today about Millsaps, and glad that we have some exciting new students joining us. Um, First, before I start talking, I did want to introduce my colleague Rhett and allow him to, I guess, introduce himself. You guys are actually going to be dealing with Rhett a lot, going through the admission process and the interviews. So I wanted to give him a chance to say hello. So Rhett, do you want to greet everyone?
Absolutely. Thank you, Austin. Well, good day, everyone. My name is Rhett Sapo. I'm the new director of admission here at Millsaps. I'm very excited to be here at Millsaps and to participate with this program. I've heard wonderful things from Austin and the students and people that he's interacted with. So I look forward to learning more and working with you in the future.
Great, thanks, Rhett. So I am very excited about this. This is one of my favorite parts of my job, is getting to talk to Next Genius students. So like I said, my name is Austin Moore. I am at Millsaps College, so you all should have picked up on that hopefully by now. But Millsaps has been a partner with Next Genius. I believe this year is our fourth year. And we have gotten some excellent students on campus through our partnership with Next Genius. And we've built some great relationships. I've been fortunate enough to travel to India a few times through our partnership, and every visit has been incredible. So I'm very excited to be going through this process again. Um, I am going to start a stopwatch just so that I know how long I've been talking. But um, Devika, is it okay if I share my screen and do a PowerPoint?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, great. I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Um, there we go. So hopefully you all can see that.
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is a presentation that I've done for a few years now with Next Genius students, both online and in India. Um, as I was looking at it this week, though, and kind of preparing, I want to do it a little bit differently, because I know that many of you, you all are great students. Like I said, we get some really good students from Next Genius, and they're usually very keen to learn as much as they can about Millsaps. And so I would imagine that you, in the Next Genius process, you have probably already gone through our website. You found a lot of facts about Millsaps, which is great. And I'm happy to talk about those. We'll have some time for question and answer, but more than giving you facts, I really want to give you an idea of what Millsaps is, and why the facts are important. You know, all of those things that you've seen on the internet, on our website, or maybe you've heard from some of our current students. I want to give you an idea of how those things are important, and why you should be paying attention to those. When I talk about Millsaps, I generally start with a very uh, easy introduction, and I say Millsaps is a small liberal arts institution located in Jackson, Mississippi. And I've said that hundreds of times over the years, many times to Next Genius students and the team. And I think I really want to, I'm going to try something out with you all. I want to kind of shape this presentation around those three things: small liberal arts in Jackson, Mississippi, because those things really are who we are as Millsaps. Um, so if you will indulge me, I'm going to do that, and then we'll have some time for question and answer in case you do have questions about the specifics. So first thing is we're small. You may never have heard of Millsaps before you started the Next Genius process, and that is totally okay. I've traveled all around the world, and usually when I say I'm from Millsaps College, people kind of look at me confused. We are a small school, but what that means is that all of our students are known by their professors, by the faculty, and the staff. You'll see on this first slide that we have a 9-to-1 student-teacher ratio. What that means is that your professors really do get to know you. It is not uncommon at all for me to walk around campus and stick my head in a professor's office and see a professor meeting one-on-one with a student. That means that when you need help on an assignment, or if you need help understanding the subject matter in any class, you can go to the professor, and the professor knows you. The professor knows that you are an international student and that you may need a little bit more help on any given assignment. And that's extremely important. You may have seen on TV and in movies kind of the stereotypical American college experience where you see a big auditorium with 300 students. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is the reality at some universities. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not Millsaps. Millsaps is small classrooms with a small number of students and a professor. Professors at the top of their field with PhDs who are focused on you as an undergraduate student. That also means that you're part of a community, right? You live on campus. We're not just small in numbers, we're small in size. So our campus is not some massive sprawling campus. We are a residential campus, so students live here. It's an easy walk to your classrooms, the professors' offices, the cafeteria where you will be spending a lot of time, the library where you'll be spending a lot of time. You're able to really be here and be an important part of the campus and be an important part of the community that we have here. So that's the size of Millsaps, and that's why that's important. When I say we're a small school, when I say we're a small school, it means that you're not going to get lost, right? You're not going to be one of 300 students in a class. Professors know you. They're going to be able to help you out. You're going to be able to get the support that you need to really succeed here. So the next thing is that we are not just small, but we're a liberal arts college. And I know that that can be, for many of you, that may be a new idea, a new term. And so I want to give you just an overview of what that means and what that will mean for you at Millsaps. Liberal arts is not necessarily liberal, and it's not focused on the arts, actually. So it doesn't really mean what it seems to mean. The liberal arts idea comes from the very first universities a long time ago, not even in the United States, but from the first universities. And the liberal arts were the subjects, the academic subjects that were deemed necessary for all free people. So it's kind of the difference between the opposite end of the spectrum would be a trade school. So at a liberal arts institution like Millsaps, you're not just going to be studying one field of study, right? You're going to get a really good rounded education. So what that looks like practically is, say you want to study maths. You can come to Millsaps and study maths, and that's great. We have some really great professors who would love to invest in you. But you're not just going to sit in maths classes, right? You're going to take maybe a foreign language, probably a business class. You're going to be writing. You're going to take an arts class. So you get to explore different areas of study, and it really it equips you for the world that we live in, right? I like to use the example of the iPhone. The iPhone has not been around very long, and yet it is, it's everywhere now. And there are a lot of people who work very hard to make apps for the iPhone. And think about how much goes into an app, right? You have to have the art and the design that goes into the way it looks. You have to have the numbers behind it, the programming. You have to have, depending on what it is, if it's, the Amazon app, there's a lot of business acumen that goes into that. So the liberal arts education really does prepare you for a really diverse workforce. That being said, you do at Millsaps get to choose what you want to study. So you can come in, let's see, I think it was on my last slide, 37 majors and 47 minors. What that means is that you have a long list. And if you've looked at our website, you've probably seen a long list of fields of study. And those go from sociology, anthropology, to biology, chemistry, neuroscience, psychology, business, finance, accounting, all of those things. And we let you choose. You're not going to be forced into one area of study, and you actually have time to choose. You don't have to choose right now. You will not have to choose next year when you arrive. You actually get to explore and figure out what it is you want to do. And if you want to do two things, you can do that. If you want to study art and business, you can do that. If you want to study biology and chemistry, all sorts of opportunities and options available for you. I will point out a few things. We do have an AACSB accredited School of Business on our campus. So that means that as an undergraduate, you are going to be taking business classes at a very high level. And then if you want to stay on and get a master's degree in business or accounting, you can do that right on our campus. We also have a medical school pathway that is open for international students. It's a partnership that we have with a medical school in our state that's not far from us. And that is a great opportunity if you are interested in medical school. We would love to talk to you about that. And I would love to connect you with a professor that is in charge of that. So that's the liberal arts. We really do have a really diverse offering, and we have students in all the fields that are really excelling and succeeding here. And then the location. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. I grew up here in Mississippi, and I love it. It is truly a unique place, and I feel fortunate that I've spent so much time here. If you look at this map, if you're not familiar with where we are located, Mississippi is the state in red on that map of the United States. So you see that we're located in the South. Just for points of reference, so the Northeast, you've got New York, Boston, Philadelphia are all on that Northeast edge. On the West Coast, you've got Los Angeles, Seattle, and all of those on the West. Mississippi is in the South, which means that the weather is a lot like, I can't say a lot like India because I know India is a very big place, but the weather is a lot like I've experienced in especially the southern parts of India. It's pretty mild. We have mild winters and then hot summers with a good bit of humidity. And you'll see that the city that we're in is Jackson. It's the capital city of the state. Excuse me, I'm gonna get some coffee. It's the capital city of the state. And that is also very important for us as an institution and for our identity as a university. You'll see that picture at the bottom is our Capitol building. So because we're the capital of the state, we're a center for law. The courts, the high courts of the state are all here. The legislature obviously is here, but we're also a center for business and medicine. Entrepreneurs flock to Jackson. We're a center for the arts. We have art museums and different arts associations, just running the gamut from people playing guitar at festivals all the way through the Mississippi Symphony Orchestra, which is very excellent. But what does that mean for you as a student? Living in a city like Jackson is not as competitive as maybe New York or Boston. We do have a lot of people, but there's also a lot of opportunity, which means as a student, you have tons of opportunities for internships and research. Our campus is located just across the street from some major teaching hospitals, which means that from the very beginning, excuse me, from the very beginning, you can actually do research and have internships at hospitals if that's what you are interested in. We also have great connections in the business community, in the government, all over the city. And as students here at Millsaps, you have access to all of those. We also pride ourselves in our community engaged courses, which means that our students don't just stay on campus, right? You actually get out into the city. So if you're taking a class on museum studies, you might go to one of our new museums and see what real life is like. If you're taking an accounting class, you might go and spend some time with an accountant, or you might go to spend some time with a business startup and see what the real world implications of what you're studying. Our location is also a great place for young people. You'll see that we've been voted one of the top 100 communities in the United States for young people. And as a semi-young person in this community, I can say that that's very true. There's plenty to do. It's a very relaxed place, but there's always something going on, festivals, and it really is a fun place to live. Also, the food is incredible. So I'll just put that out there. Jackson is a really great place to live, and tons of opportunities for you as college students and beyond. What's it like to be an international student here? At a small school, as I'm sure you can imagine, we don't have hundreds of international students. We actually have around 45, usually anywhere between 40 and 50 international students, and they don't all come from one country. Some schools you'll see, they have a large Chinese population or a large Indian or Saudi population, and there's nothing wrong with that, but we don't have that. What we have is students from India and Zimbabwe and Russia and the United Kingdom, students from all over, and it really makes things exciting. One, because you are all of our international students are bringing something to the table. They're bringing perspectives, they're bringing ideas, they're bringing questions that we would not normally have if it were just a classroom full of American students. So that's really exciting. And they also, international students, you'll see these two pictures. They show us a lot about the world. We have Diwali celebrations every year. We just last week had a celebration here on campus. We also celebrate the Lunar New Year. It's really exciting and fun to have so many different cultures and countries represented on campus. And it brings a lot to our organization. Last thing I'm going to say in this presentation, and then I want to talk a little bit about application requirements, and then I want to take any questions that you have. I would be remiss if I did not mention study abroad, because study abroad is actually a big part of my job here. So I'm going to put in a shameless plug for study abroad. You are all already thinking about study abroad, right? You are all thinking about leaving your country and coming to the United States to study. But what I've found is that many international students are not satisfied with just that. You want to explore the world, right? You want to see Mississippi, but you also may want to spend time in Mexico or the United Kingdom. And Millsaps is a great place for that. We have study abroad programs all over the world. Some of them, many of them are led by Millsaps professors. So you get to know a professor, and then you can go, study archaeology in Peru with that professor, or study business in Germany. All sorts of really exciting things going on around the world to broaden your horizon even more. And our international students love to take advantage of those opportunities. So I am going to stop sharing, and then you can just look at me for a second while I talk about some application requirements. Because of COVID, application requirements have changed a little bit, and Rhett may have more to say about this as the director of admission, but really we try to streamline that process as much as we can, especially for our Next Genius students. We do need an application. So there's an online application. You can do the Common App or our online application that's on the Millsaps website. Both are equally acceptable. Neither one is going to hurt you or help you any. They're very level. So we do need that. You will need to send in or have your school send in your transcripts. And I just want to make a note on the transcripts. We really prefer to see continuous marks from at least 2 years of high school, okay? So if you can, talk to your school counselor or a school official and have them send us your marks from maybe year 10 and year 11, or however that works out in your system, for at least 2 years of marks. And that gives us an idea of your academic achievement so far. So application, transcripts, and then the final main thing that we do ask you to submit, we don't really use the CSS profile. So those long form student aid, financial aid forms don't really help us as much. We have a very simple form, an online form that you can fill out. It's a free form that I created, so it's very simple. And it just gives us an idea of what your budget is. It's not going to hurt you or help you. It just helps us to have those financial conversations. So those are the main things. Rhett, I'm assuming I'm not leaving anything out. It's been a long time since I've done an admissions thing. Rhett, do you have anything to add to that?
Sure. Thank you, Austin. So one recent update that we did make to the application is we're no longer requiring an essay. In the midst of COVID, we're trying to increase accessibility to the application, not necessarily to changing the acceptance rate per se, but just we want it to be easier for students to apply. So that's why we have that, that requirement is no longer on the application. However, that being said, the essay is still optional for students, and I would encourage students to put them in there, just because it does give us additional insight to who you are as an individual, why you would be an asset to Millsaps. So they're certainly welcomed and strongly encouraged to be submitted, but do know that it is only optional.
And I'll say this about, thank you, Rhett. I'll say this about our process, especially with Next Genius. We do have a separate process for Next Genius. So when you submit your application, you probably will not, you definitely will not get a decision back immediately. or even within a few weeks, because we want to keep all of our Next Genius students together so that we can treat everyone fairly. So we do ask that you all, I think the deadline that they were given was 14th of December.
Yes.
Is that right? So we do ask that you all get all of your information in by that date, by the 14th of December, so that we can go ahead and start reviewing applications before the interviews. But don't expect a decision before the interviews because we want to make sure that everyone has a level playing field at that time. So I have thrown out a bunch of information at you, and I know that you all, I know a few people were added during the presentation, so I'm happy to take some time to take questions.
Yeah, I mean, I just wrote to them on the chat that they can actually unmute themselves and ask questions.
I'm also going to put I'm going to put two email addresses in here. One is the general international admissions email, and then the other one is my specific email. Here's a secret. Both of them go to me, but one of them is easier to remember. So you can use either one of these. I know somebody's got some questions.
So please feel free to unmute yourselves and ask questions.
Okay, am I audible?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I was just curious about the music programs you have on the campus because uh, I have played guitar for about 5 years and I played the saxophone for about 4 years. And I was interested if there were some prospects of music for that.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the first instrument that you said?
A guitar.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so we do have the option of majoring in music. We have a great music department, um, and we also have different like performance groups. I would be lying to you if I told you that I had a lot of details about that, but I would love to connect you with one of our music professors because I know that they are always looking for more involvement in different music opportunities. So I'm going to write your name down and connect you with someone, either a professor or maybe a current student in the music department.
Thank you.
Are you interested in majoring in music, or you just want to keep playing?
A minor would be good, but I'm still considering.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and like I said, for students who are interested in any type of music, really, Millsaps is a great place to study because we do offer that, but also the Jackson as a city and the state of Mississippi. If you're interested in blues music, this is where you want to be. Mississippi is the home of blues music. So playing guitar, sax, like all of that, this is definitely a great place to be. My hometown actually has a blues festival every year, and it's incredible. So let's see. Himanshu says, I'm interested in biological science and want to do my major in molecular biology. So here's how that would work. You could definitely major in biology. We do not have a major that is specifically molecular biology, but you would definitely study biology. And I feel certain that your professors could help you hone in on molecular biology in particular. So our science professors are incredibly brilliant. I'm not a science person, so it blows me away. But you could definitely major in biology, and they could also help you get internships and research opportunities, specifically, in whatever it is that you are specifically interested in. I made that way more complicated than it has to be. Whatever it is you're wanting to pursue as far as molecular biology, whatever that looks like for you, I feel certain that our biology professors and our connections with the medical centers are able to help you out with that. You did a 10-day internship in molecular biology. That is awesome. That is, I know nothing about molecular biology, so you could probably teach me a lot. But if it's, I would imagine that molecular biology would fit well into like hospital research. If not, we could find you some research and internship opportunities in the Jackson area. I'll also say our students are not limited to the Jackson area. So I actually had an international student a couple years ago. She did an internship, I believe, at Harvard, one of the major schools in the Northeast. She got a summer internship in kind of a medical research facility. And so, you know, there are those opportunities too during the summer and spring break. So Himanshu, I would love to talk to you more about that and maybe connect you with one of our. I know a few professors that would probably be really excited to talk to you about that. What
Um,
else?
uh, uh, yeah, also if you could, focus a little more and talk in a little detail about English proficiency, like though they are clear about it, but maybe one more round of clearance.
Yeah, so you said English proficiency, right? You're kind of cutting out. Okay. Yeah, so generally what we do require an English proficiency exam result. For Indian students, we actually waive that because we know that although so many languages are spoken in India, that many of you as students are going to have the required English proficiency. If if that if you struggle with English proficiency or you just want to talk about that specifically, I would be happy to talk to you about that. And there are some ways that you know, if it's something that's concerning to you, we could definitely do an interview so that we can kind of gauge your English proficiency. We are also on the Duolingo exam. So we can accept Duolingo, which is a much more user-friendly exam, you know, that you don't have to actually sit for, you don't have to go somewhere to sit for it. You can take it online from home. But yeah, so generally with Indian students, we do waive that requirement because we feel certain that most Indian students have the required English proficiency. I will say on that note, Millsaps, we pride ourselves in having a rigorous academic structure. So, you know, your classes are going to be tough. You know, you're going to have a lot of free time. You're going to have fun. But you are also going to have to study. You're going to have to work hard. And I am always amazed with my international, I call them my international students, but our international students. I'm always amazed at how diligent they are, especially if English is not your first language. You know, if English is a second language, you might have to work a little bit harder. But the international students always come through for me, and they really do a good job. So be prepared, you know, to work hard, especially if there is still kind of a language barrier. But yeah, we're not going to require an English proficiency exam.
Great, thank you. Also, recently I was chatting with few students, and though I'm going to talk a little about it from a next genius point of view, if you could tell them what exactly is, the scene like in the interview room, because they do get petrified with the fact about the interviews. So, what is it exactly like inside?
So interview day is kind of fun for me, but I also know it's a little bit stressful for everyone. And I know it's going to be different this year because it's all going to be online. So I am sad that we will not be able to visit Mumbai. Um, the scene in the interview room is, unless it's totally changed when it's online, but I would say it's a group interview. And so, you know, we're not sitting there asking each individual questions, right? We're not asking you things about your resume. We're not asking you trivia. I may ask you trivia questions, but they don't matter. You know, it's not a test. The interview time is really an opportunity for us to get to know you more, on an individual level, but in a group. So it's weird. You generally what I like to do is do a couple different exercises. And so they're not, again, you're not proving your knowledge. You're really just showing me how you work in a group. We see a lot of students really step up and show some leadership skills. But we also see a lot of students. I always love seeing students who are able to be followers. If you have a room full of leaders, then you're not going to get very far. You have to have students who are willing to also put in the work. So all of that to say, we definitely understand that the interview day is nerve-wracking. We know that you're going to have some nerves, but I would tell you, just be yourself. You know, we've already looked at at that point, we've already looked at your application. We've looked at all your marks and everything. We really just want to get to know you as a person, and we want to see not if you will fit on our campus, but how you will fit on our campus. You know, whether you're going to be kind of the one out in front leading everyone, or you're going to be the one kind of backstage, kind of making things happen. So I think it's a fun experience, but I do understand the nerves. I would just say, you know, work through those nerves. It's going to be okay.
Great, thank you. Just adding a point to that, though we have already passed on the information, but once again, so this time there are two set of interviews. One that Austin just spoke about, that is in the month of January, group discussions, and one is an interview or sort of an interactive round with Next Genius in the month of December. So we will be, along with our past Next Genius scholars, we will be interacting, interviewing with each one of you on a one-to-one basis, on a prior reason to understand you better and help you through the missing components of your application and your interest in Millsaps. So there would be two rounds of interviews in January and in December and in January.
Great. There was something that I was going to add. Oh, I do want to add this. I know that, you know, the interview, obviously everyone is shooting for the top scholarship, and I definitely understand that. I will say this: we do everything we can to help international students get here. Like Rhett said earlier, we want to make this process, we want to make sure that you're ready, but we also want to make this process as easy for you as we can. So even if you go through the interview and you don't get that top scholarship, unfortunately, we can't give it to everyone, but you're still going to get a scholarship, okay? We do offer generous scholarships to all international students. So I hope that helps you rest easy, that even if you don't get that top scholarship, and I'll be pushing to make sure that you get the best scholarship that we can give you. So yeah, that should help.
That was very relieving to hear, Austin. Thank you. Any a piece of word of advice from Red from you on applications and anything of that sort?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and that goes along with Sakshi's question that just came in about the topic on essay writing. I know that there are prompts on the Common App. I don't care what you write your essay on, honestly. And Rhett may have a different idea, but my thought is, when I look at your application, And when I read that essay, I just want to get to know you. I've read a million essays about soccer or football. So, show me, if you're going to write about football, show me how it sets you apart. Show yourself in that essay, because that's what we're looking for in any application is I want to be able to walk away, because the reality is that we read, or we review um, sometimes a dozen or more applications a day. Um, so we want you to be able to set yourself apart. So whatever you can do in the application, whether it's your extracurricular activities or your essay, those are two great places to show me and anyone else who you really are and what you're bringing to the table. So Rhett, did you want to add to that?
Absolutely. Thank you, Austin. You said it really well. The whole goal of the essay is to get to know you. And so even though it is optional, I do encourage all students to submit one just because it's a great way to get to know you beyond just the quantitative factors. And, you know, at Millsaps, we emphasize a holistic review of applications. Yes, the grades that you have, the test scores that you have, all of those are important, but I want to get to know you as an individual. And so the essay is a great way for you to introduce yourself, tell us why you're interested in the college, but what information can you give me to help me know you better? So that's why that's so imperative. And so recommendations for the essay, I would say try to be compelling and be unique, just because as Austin mentioned, often students are writing about the same thing. It's about sports. It's about, a trip with their church or something that's just, while it might be an interesting part of your life, it might seem generic. So try to think of something that's going to be compelling. I want the essay when I read it to think, man, that was so good. I want to read it again. It was so unique, so different, so compelling. Let me read it twice. And so that's why the essay is so important, just because it can help us get to know you. Same thing along with your extracurriculars. If you've invested your time in some capacity outside of the classroom, it obviously means something to you. So it's going to mean something to your application, whether that's helping your family with work, whether that's a sport, whether that's whatever it may be. If you're investing the time in some capacity, once again, it means something to you. So it's going to mean something to your application. So regardless of what that activity is, don't be shy to include that. But I would also encourage you to put things, instead of listing 40 different clubs that you're in, what are some that you've truly had an investment in? Oh, you've spent 4 years doing something, that you've had a job, or you've been in the same sport for several years, you've taken on a leadership role in some capacity. Those are things that are going to weigh more than just listing every single club that you've ever been in, which those are really good. Oh, yes, I can see that you're invested, but I would rather see your commitment to an organization and your level of investment over a period of time versus just listing them out. So go in depth with your essay, go in depth with those student organizations. Help me get to know you better and why you're going to be a unique student and how you can contribute to the campus.
And I'll add, thank you, Rhett. And I see another question here about the essay. I'll answer that in just a second, but I do want to add about the application in total. One thing that I like to tell students is that when I read your application, I'm not looking for reasons to deny you, okay? I want you here. So I'm really looking for, I'll say it this way. I don't like denying students. Okay. So I don't want you to think that, I'm sitting here looking at your application and trying to find any reason that you've messed up, that you left something off or whatever. That's not what I'm doing. So I hope that puts you at ease a little bit about your application. As far as the essay, just to clear that up, it is not required. So it's not going to be a problem if you do not include it. Okay, it's not going to count against you at all if you do not include an essay. It's just like what Rhett was saying. It just gives us another point of reference. It gives us a little bit more information about who you are. So we encourage that because that, that helps us. So it's not going to hurt you, but it can help us get to know you a little bit better. So I know we are like right on time.
Yes.
Are there any final questions before we go? And you're all free to email me. I put both of my email addresses in the chat. So feel free to reach out.
Perfect. Just two more things from my side, that the session was recorded, and we'll share the recording both on YouTube as well as on the WhatsApp Millsaps group. And yeah, we encourage all the students to submit all components of their college application before or by December 14th.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Austin, and thank you so much, Red, for this amazing information session. I'm sure it has helped students to quite an extent, and we are yet there on WhatsApp calls, emails to help them throughout.
Great. Thank you. And y'all have a great night.
And a good morning to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.